For 60 years, UNES has stood with pride. For 60 years, advancing the nation's stride, nurturing young minds with hope that shines, igniting dreams across archipelagic lines. Each year of UNES' journey tells a tale of impact where progress dwells, a legacy shaped with heart and might, a guiding torch, a beacon of light. With a vision vast and a purpose grand, to be world-class, to lead and stand, a pioneer in education with care for the land, conservation in mind, and excellence at hand. Its noble mission walks the path of Tridharma: education, research, and community service. The marks of goodness clear to trace in every scholar's steadfast pace. From quality learning rise wings that soar, alumni dreams breaking through every door. Innovation and science answer the call, turning life's hurdles into bridges for all. Service flows where roots run deep in urban pulse and mountain steep. Nurturing dreams into achievements, cultivating aspirations into accomplishment. Support and care in every phase, guiding each student to their destined place. A green campus breathing life anew shows love for Earth in all we do. And from these efforts, bright minds bloom to light the nation, dispel the gloom. Through thought, through deed, through craft and art. They lead with wisdom, they lead with heart. UNES, 6 decades strong and true, building the future in all we do.
Saya bangga menjadi bagian dari UNES.
UNES, excellence in education, legacy in action.
Bahasa, seni, budaya, dan ilmu pengetahuan. Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni Universitas Negeri Semarang adalah tempat di mana ide bertemu kreativitas dan tradisi berjalan selaras dengan inovasi. Komitmen mewujudkan UNES sebagai universitas bereputasi dunia dan pelopor kecemerlangan pendidikan yang berwawasan konservasi menjadikan Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni terus memberikan layanan akademik terbaik untuk putra dan putri terbaik. Dengan 21 program studi, mulai dari diploma, sarjana, magister, hingga doktor, menjadikan Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni menjadi ruang tumbuh bagi para calon pendidik, praktisi, sastrawan, seniman, hingga peneliti. FBS UNES terus membuka diri terhadap dunia, kolaborasi internasional, penelitian lintas bidang, serta publikasi ilmiah menjadi bagian dari nafas akademik yang terus tumbuh. Di era digital, kami menghadirkan inovasi, membangun ekosistem kampus yang adaptif dan responsif terhadap tantangan global. Dengan dukungan sarana yang lengkap dan suasana akademik yang kondusif, mahasiswa FBS dibina untuk menjadi insan yang tak hanya cerdas secara intelektual, tetapi juga tangguh secara emosional dan sosial. Disinilah talenta bertemu makna, kreativitas menemukan ruangnya. FBS UNES lebih dari tempat belajar. FBS UNES adalah tempat membentuk kecemerlangan masa depan.
Mari kita bersinergi untuk menjadi universitas reputasi dunia dan pelopor kecemerlangan pendidikan yang berwawasan konservasi bersama Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to all. Welcome to the first International Conference on Dance and Education. This is the very first time for the Dance Education Department to hold this event. The Honorable Professor Dr. Tommy Yuniawan M.Hum, as a Dean and also all of the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts of Universitas Negeri Semarang, the Honorable Head of Dance Education Department, Ibu Dr. Eni Kusumastuti MPD, and also all of the lecturers in the program, the Honorable our main speakers, Professor Dr. Hanafi bin Hussein from University Malaya, Professor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum from Universitas Negeri Semarang, Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jirajarupat from Swan Senanda Rajabat University, and also Dr. Joel Florence Patrice Jacinto from Asian Institute of Maritime Studies, Philippines. And the honorable all of the presenters in parallel session, and also the amazing participants. Before we start our conference today, let me introduce myself first. My name is Angelica Calista Vieira, as your Master of Ceremony on today's event. Under the theme of Innovation and Sustainability on Dance and Education, we invite teachers, students, academicians, and scholars to discuss the future of education from various perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully the event will run smoothly and successfully so that we can witness the presence of the same event in the upcoming years. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, To increase the sense of nationalism, let us sing the Indonesian national anthem together, Indonesia Raya, followed with March UNES. We invite all participants to stand as a form of appreciation. The participants, please be seated again. As we are about to begin, may I request everyone to remain seated for a prayer that will be led by Profesor Dr. Hartono MPD. For Bapak Profesor Dr. Hartono MPD, the time is yours.
A'udzubillahiminasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma sholli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Ya Rabb yang maha pengasih dan maha bijaksana, pemilik ilmu semesta, sumber inspirasi dan kreativitas tak terbatas. Kami hadir dari berbagai latar belakang suku dan budaya, namun bersatu dalam satu tujuan, membangun peradaban melalui ilmu, seni, dan dialog kemanusiaan. Ya Rabb, berikanlah setiap sesi, diskusi, dan presentasi dalam seminar ini. Bimbinglah para pembicara agar ilmunya menyentuh hati, dan para peserta agar hatinya terbuka menerima hikmah. Lindungi kami dari ego akademik dan kesombongan intelektual, dan jadikan setiap gagasan yang lahir hari ini sebagai benih perubahan nyata. Ya Rob, berkatilah kehadiran dan kontribusi seni drama tari dan musik Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni Universitas Negeri Semarang yang dengan dedikasi dan semangat budaya menjadi jembatan antara tradisi dan modern, lokal dan global. Senderatasi Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni Universitas Negeri Semarang hadir bukan hanya sebagai penyelenggara, tetapi sebagai penggerak mengalirkan energi kreatif, mengalunkan harmoni melalui seni, teater, rupa, dan musik. Ya Rob, satukanlah hati kami dalam keberagaman. Jadikan seminar ini titik awal lahirnya solusi-solusi besar dalam menghadapi berbagai tantangan global. Indonesia dengan segala kekayaan seni dan budayanya, semoga kontribusinya hari ini menjadi bagian dari jawaban dunia, bukan karena kekuasaan, tapi karena keikhlasan dan kearifan. Ya Rob, yang Maha Pengasih dan Penyayang, terimalah setiap amal tulus dan setiap langkah kecil kebaikan yang kami ukir. Janganlah Engkau hinakan kami di hadapan-Mu. Lindungilah jiwa dan raga kami dari panasnya api neraka-Mu. Hanya padamu kami menangis, hanya kepadamu kami berlindung. Rabbana ma khalaqta hadza batila subhanaka faqina adzabannar. Rabbana innana sami'na munadiya yunadi lil imani an aminu bi rabbikum fa amanna. Rabbana faghfir lana dzunubana wa kaffir anna sayyi'atina wa tawaffana ma'al abrar. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin.
Thank you, Bapak Profesor Dr. Hartono. The next agenda is the reporting of the first ICDE, as well as to formally open the event from our Head of Department, Ibu Dr. Eni Kusumastuti, MPD. For Ibu Dr. Eni Kusumastuti, the time is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts Universitas Negeri Semarang, the Honorable our invited speakers, Profesor Dr. Hanafi bin Husain, University Malaya, Profesor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Asisten Profesor Dr. Pakamas Diraja Rupat, Swan Sunanda Rajabat University Thailand, Dr. Jewel Florence Patrice Jacinto, Asian Maritime Studies, Philippines. The Honorable all the presenters and participants, it is a great honor for me to welcome you to the International Conference on Dance and Education organized by the Dance Education Study Program, Universitas Negeri Semarang, with the theme Innovation and Sustainability in Dance and Education. This conference brings together 4 invited speakers from 4 countries, 27 presenters and participants from diverse backgrounds. It reflects the global concern for innovation and sustainability in dance and education, not only in Indonesia but also worldwide. Through this forum, we hope to exchange ideas, strengthen international collaboration, and contribute to the advancement of dance in education, culture, and society. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank you for the keynote speaker, invited speakers, presenters, participants, and everyone who has supported this event. We sincerely hope this event runs smoothly and brings meaningful benefits as well as positive impacts for the development of dance and education. And may this conference bring inspiration and collaboration for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Dr. Eni Kusumastuti. The next agenda is the awarding session for our main speakers at the first ICDE 2025. The first award is presented to Professor Dr. Hanafi bin Hussein from University Malaya. The second award is addressed to Profesor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum from Universitas Negeri Semarang. The third award is given to Assistant Professor Dr. Vakamas Jirajarupat from Swan Senanda Rajabat University. And finally, the fourth award is presented to Dr. Joel Florence Patrice Jacinto from Asian Institute of Maritime Studies, Philippines. Once again, we express our heartfelt gratitude to all our main speakers for their remarkable contributions to this conference. And now, I will invite the Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts of Universitas Negeri Semarang to deliver his speech. Profesor Dr. Tommy Yuniawan M.Hum, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Suara saya terdengar jelas?
Terdengar jelas, Bapak.
Thank you, terima kasih.
Cukup jelas.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Honorable invited speakers, the first Professor Dr. Hanafi bin Hussein from University Malaya. Good morning, Prof. And then Professor.
Good morning.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Hanafi. Profesor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum from Universitas Negeri Semarang. Good morning, Prof. Agus.
Ya. Terima kasih, Pak Dekan.
Terima kasih. And then Associate Professor Dr. Pakamas Jirajarupat dari from Swananda Rajabat University Thailand. Good morning, Prof.
Sawadika. Good morning.
Sawadika, thank you very much. And then Dr. Jory Florence Patrice Jacinto from Asian Maritime Studies, Philippines. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, thank you. And then esteemed presenter, participant, lecturer, academic staff, and all guests join us for online and on-site conference. First of all, welcome to the first international conference on dance and education 2025. It is truly a happy moment for me to see so many participants from across Indonesia and around the world gathering here for what promised to be a meaningful academic event. This year's theme, Innovation and Sustainability in Dance Education, is both timely and inspiring. They are powerful tools for building global understanding, advancing sustainability, and shaping future leaders within the framework of sustainable development goals. As the Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Art, Universitas Negeri Semarang, I am proud that our faculty, especially Vice Dean of the Faculty of Language and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang, and especially Teens Education and Music Education Coordinator Program, Ibu Dr. Eni Sumastuti, and Organizing Committee, continue to foster international collaboration, critical dialogue, and impactful research through this annual conference. I motivate all of you to share your ideas, ask questions, make connection, and most importantly, enjoy the experience. Conferences like this are not just about presenting papers. They are about building communities and finding new ways to grow together as educators, researchers, and global citizens. To the organizing committee, thank you for your dedication, Ibu Dr. Eni and organizing committee, and to all our guests and keynote speakers and presenter, thank you for being part in this the first international conference on dance and education 2025. Let's make this conference a success together. And as the Dean of Languages and Arts Faculty, Universitas Negeri Semarang, I officially open the first international conference on education 2025. Let's say Bismillah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you and enjoy the first international conference on dance and education 2025. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
much, Professor Tommy. As the event has been formally opened, it is my honor to hand over the plenary session to our today's moderator, Bapak Abdul Rahman SPD MPD. For Bapak Abdul Rahman, the time is completely yours.
Thank you very much, Mbak Master Ceremony, Mbak Vira. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On one hand, innovation calls us to embrace digital technologies, new pedagogical approaches, and interdisciplinary perspectives that expand how dance is taught, studied, and experienced. On the other hand, sustainability reminds us of our responsibility to preserve cultural identities, to ensure the continuity of traditional knowledge, and to make dance education inclusive and socially meaningful for future generations. This dual focus between innovation and sustainability is central to current global discussions in the arts and education. Yet, a critical question remains for all of us. How can dance education remain innovative yet sustainable, preserving culture, empowering communities, and responding to global challenges? The Honorable Professor Dr. Tommy Yuniawan, M.Hum, the Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang, the invited speakers, the Honorable Professors, distinguished guests, presenters, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first International Conference on Dance and Education 2025. This ECODE, the theme of this ECODE is Innovation and Sustainability in Dance and Education, organized by the Dance Education Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang. I'm Abdul Rahman. It's my honor to be the moderator for this session, and also it is my honor to have the main speakers here with us this morning. Before we begin, I would like to briefly introduce our invited speakers today. We have already here 4 speakers in this webinar, who are experts related to the topic for sure. All right, the first speaker is Professor Dr. Hanafi bin Hussein from University Malaya, Malaysia. Good morning, Prof. Hanafi.
Good morning, Mas Abdul Rahman.
How is it going, Prof. Hanafi?
It's good, thank you.
It's been a while. I'm so happy to see you again here.
Yeah, yes.
You must be
happy to see you.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you here in Universitas Negeri Semarang.
Inshallah.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, Prof. Hanafi. Professor Dr. Hanafi is going to deliver a speech entitled Dance for Social Change and Community Empowerment, selected references from Malaysia. The second speaker is Professor Dr. Agus Cahyono, M.Hum, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Indonesia. Selamat pagi, Prof. Agus.
Pagi, Mas
Ladies and gentlemen, Prof. Agus is, the very new professor in our department. He is going to have his professor inaugural lecture in a few days next ya. Sebentar lagi, Bapak. Terima kasih, Bapak.
Terima kasih.
Sebentar lagi akan pengukuhan profesor. Professor Dr. Agus Cahyono is going to deliver a speech entitled Ethno-Choreography-Based Dance Education for Strengthening Cultural Awareness and Cross-Cultural Identity. Thank you, Pak Agus. And the third speaker is Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jirajurupat from Suwan Sunadaraja University, Thailand. Hello, my friend.
Hello, good morning, สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ Tan.
ค่ะ
May I call you Tan here?
Yes, you can, please.
Thank you very much for joining us, Tan.
Thank you for having me here today.
Yes, very nice to have you here. How are you there?
Very good. Thank you. And you?
I'm good as well. Thank you very much. You look so gorgeous on my frame.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tan. Actually, I was there a few months ago in Bangkok, but I'm really sorry I cannot meeting you here there. Yeah, maybe next event we will see you again. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. We will meet later.
Okay, thank you, Pak Dr. Pakamas Jira Jarupat. Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jira Jarupat is going to deliver a speech entitled Sustainable Development in Dance Education, Building an Artistic Ecosystem in Thai Dance Higher Education. All right, the fourth speaker, we have also Dr. Joel Florence Patrice Jacinto from Asian Institute of Maritime Studies, Philippines. Hello, Dr. Joel.
Hello, good morning. Nice
Good
to be here.
morning.
Thank you. Nice to meet all of you.
How is the weather there? The weather
It's
okay?
not very bright. It's a bit overcast. It's about to rain, but yeah, it's the season for rain in the Philippines. Thank you for asking. How are you? How is everyone?
Yes, I think we have the same weather here. It's quite a little bit raining here, but I hope everything okay there.
Yes, everything's great here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Joel. Dr.
It's my
Joel
pleasure.
Florence Patrice Jacinto is going to deliver a speech entitled Cross-Cultural Collaboration, New Strategies for Philippines Dance Education. Okay, I would like to convey some pieces of information related to this session. In this session, we have a total of about 2 hours to go. The speakers are going to deliver the presentation approximately 20 minutes each, followed by about 30 minutes for the Q&A session. So the speakers are going to present the papers in sequence. The first speaker is Prof. Hanafi, and then continued by Professor Dr. Agus. The third, Assistant Dr. Pakamas, and then the last, Dr. Joel. All participants are allowed to ask a question by typing the question in the chat column or to deliver the question by raising your hand. Okay, let's get started. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's go diving with the first speaker, Prof. Hanafi bin Hussein. Professor Dr. Hanafi is a honorary professor at the Department of Southeast Asian Studies, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, University Malaya. His focus on Southeast Asian anthropology, particularly ritual and performing arts. His master's degree and PhD in cultural and performing arts studies. He was the former, in the form of the Dean of the Faculty of Creative Arts on 2022 to 2024. And also the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences 2016 to 2018. He also head of the Maritime Social Sciences and Humanities Unit Institute of Ocean and Earth Sciences. Ocean and Earth Sciences, wow, Prof. Hanafi. And head of University Malaya Migration Research Center, University Malaya, UMMRC. He was appointed and served as a visiting professor at various universities. Huazhong Agriculture University, Wuhan, China, 2024. Thammasat University, 2021. Universitas Indonesia, 2020-2021. And Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta, Indonesia, 2020. UNES also in 2020, I guess. Okay, Prof. Hanafi, you have been going here and there. Where are you heading in the near future, Prof. Hanafi?
I'm retired, but still wandering around.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Hanafi. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the first speaker, Professor Dr. Hanafi bin Hussein. Prof. Hanafi, the time is completely yours.
Thank you, Mas Burahman. Thank you to the Dean, Faculty of Languages and Arts, Pak Tommy, Ibu Dr. Annie, for inviting me to be here, and colleagues of invited speakers. So, well, the time is very short, 20 minutes. Let me try to share my slide first, and then let's see whether it is working or not. And then share. Okay, can you see my slides?
It's perfect for Fanavi.
Okay, thank you. Let me, okay. So, first of all, what we call it here, just use the sub-theme given. So my title of presentation is Dance for Social Change and Community Empowerment. We've selected references from Malaysia. So, when I was invited, so only this theme that I can fulfill to what we call it, to enable me to join this conference on dance, because I'm not a dance expert, but of course, through my research, my fieldwork involving the dance and music as well, especially related to ritual. And from there, I engaging with the community. So that's why dance and community are quite familiar with me. So where through this dance, the community or social change can be what we call it, implemented, and then of course it could be empowered the community. So this is about my presentation with few examples that I collected through my fieldwork. So there is what we call it, proceed with what I'm going to share. So first of all, I would like to discuss or share on what's important of art, dance, and social change. So through what we call it, this framework, art for social change uses creative expression, as we already know, especially in our context of study. So it encompasses various approaches, from artists creating political charge and engaging communities in collaborating projects, to art and catalyzing discussion on inequality, human rights, and environmental concerns. So meaning that art for social change aims to build more just, sustainable, and inclusive society or societies by empowering individuals and communities, often through community art, activist art, and participatory art. So I think all of us, involving in this, that what type of participation, so it depends on our own, what we call it here, journey, in our academic life as well. So in this context, when we deal with art for social change, among the key aspects of art for social change, raises awareness, fosters dialogue, empowers communities, inspires action, builds connections, and also promotes well-being. So in this context, I'm taking this framework where the art for social change empowers community by giving people a platform to express themselves and co-create art. It builds community power, fosters a sense of agency, and allows marginalized voices to be heard. So with that, among the what we call it, activities for arts in the context of social change, activist art, community art, participatory projects, and I think among the visual people like to have this muralism. So how it works, through collaborative processes, diverse art form, community-led initiative, and skill sharing. So with this, since the dance, part of this, so let us move to dance for social change. In this context, dance for social change utilizes the expressive and communal power of dance to raise awareness, foster dialogue, and advocate for social justice on issues like equality and human rights. So similar, to the concept that given by the arts for social change. So it functions as powerful forms of social commentary, moving societal issues from abstract concepts to felt emotional experiences. And the organizations, and individuals use this approach through performances, workshops, and community programs to promote personal and collective transformation, encourage interaction, and build solidarity. So in this context, different, what we call it, experts, different people who are engaging with this community. So of course, different approach that has been done, or being doing, because of this is a kind of continuous work, as long as we are still working on it, So in this context, what I look at in this context, some of the example of dance for social change through youth leadership programs, community workshops, and also performance art as a vehicle. So as mentioned earlier, in the community workshop programs such as those offered, by the expert like Jacob Pilow's dance, or the organization use dance to engage with community members on important of social issues. So this more to what we call it here, dance for voicing the social issue. Now, in this context, how dance promotes social change. So there are many, but among those in the context of form of expression and storytelling, social commentary and advocacy, emotional engagement, community building and unity, and also personal transformation and empowerment. And I list one more here, non-verbal learning and peace building. So, meaning that in this context, or what I mentioned, the approach that used by the people who are in dance, expert or dance practitioners, using many ways of what we call it here, to promote, social change. So, in this context, when we talk about the social change and community empowerment, so of course we need the community to work with. So since I involve, with the community that I research on rituals, for example, the Kadazan community of Penampang Sabah, and also the Bajau community, few rituals that I observe, and also the latest that I'm working with the Kerinci diaspora community in Kuala Lumpur. So of course the Kerinci community came from Jambi, Indonesia. This what we call it here, the ritual that I observe, the rice farming ritual, which involving music and dance. So as you can see from the rituals, where the traditional dance that said to be originated from the ritual this what the ritual meant. So I was lucky to observe this dance. That of course the current community, they don't what we call it here, have chance to observe this anymore, because this ritual already what we call it gone. But the sumazau, or the traditional dance of this community, being performed everywhere in Sabah, and also it represented this Sabah as the traditional dance of the community. Now, for the community that I observe also, and involving the Sama Bajau. So there are what we call it categories of Sama Bajau people in Malaysia, and of course we have Bajau Laut or Sama di Laut in Sabah, and also in southern Philippines. I think Dr. Joel, familiar with this, but I've been to these places to what you call it, observe, their ritual, and to see what the function of the music and dance in this ritual. And of course, later when I get kind of engagement with the community, and how the community go about of their traditional dance. So this what we call it, the dance, that been observed, in the ritual. Just kind of an example. So as I mentioned earlier, so this Bajau Laut or Sama di Laut, not only found in Sabah, but also in southern Philippines, where I was there to observe their ritual, and of course the important element of dance, they call it as igal. So igal for the sacred function, and later we may see how igal function to the current community as part of their identity, what I call it, enhancement. So as I mentioned, in Sabah there are many what we call it type of Sama Bajau. So as you can see, this is the Sama Bajau of Sabah that practicing the ritual, where music and dance are very crucial as part of their what we call it, involvement with the sacred or ancestral belonging. So well, I just simplified just to mention that there are many rituals that performed by the different group or family of Sama Bajau in Sabah, and also in southern Philippines. So with that, it given me a kind of not to say thick data, but opportunity to work with the community, where when we talk about the involvement of dance and the importance of dance in the community, and how this dance embedded in the current community living. So I may skip of this cringy what we call it discussion, because of it will take some time. But just to mention that these are the communities that I used to what we call it involve in my ritual, and also the community engagement when it relates to dance and music, include the current one, the Kerinci community, Kerinci diaspora in Malaysia. Okay, so this is to show that they are linked with the Kerinci of Jambi and Kerinci in Kuala Lumpur very much closer now, through the what we call it dance engagement that I propose to this community in Kuala Lumpur. Now, let's move to the art, dance, and community empowerment. So, because the theme of the topic are given as two. So, the community empowerment through art occurs when creative practices are used to give marginalized group voice, build social cohesion, foster dialogue, and promote cultural understanding and transformation. So, among the example, of the community empowerment through art, as I shared earlier, for the social change involving with the youth voice programs, public art installation, community arts collective, and also art for recovery. So this how in the context of community safeguarding, preservation, and protection will help the art or many kinds of art genre to be preserved, sustained, and it can be practiced up to what we call it in the future. So how art empowers community then, through a few examples that I listed here, amplifies marginalized voices, fosters social cohesion and dialogue, builds community relationship, support economic development, promotes critical thinking and action, and also provides space for healing and expression. So when we talk about this example, of the dance for social change and community empowerment in context of Malaysia, for example, here. So dance in Malaysia serve as a powerful tool, for social change and community empowerment by strengthening cultural identity, bridging ethnic divides, fostering holistic development in children, and addressing social issues like sexual abuse, for example. So that's why there are three main themes on the dance, for social change and community empowerment in Malaysia. So as listed here. So in the context of the strengthening, cultural identity and bridging divides, so the importance of the community empowerment and also the preservation and transmission of culture and cross-cultural collaboration. So we will listen to Joel, presentation on cross-cultural collaboration later. So in this context, how the community, empowered through creative expression, through children's holistic development, therapeutic application, building confidence. So I noticed that, therapeutic application, one of the, what we call it here, popular study that being studied by many our colleagues, throughout the I mean region or country as well. So in context of the addressing social issues, giving voice, to the voiceless. So as mentioned earlier, even though it's very minor in this context, but it's a kind dance giving a kind of platform, to giving voice, to the what we call it voiceless people or community, and also here it can be, as transformative awareness. So see here how dance is crucial in our context today. So this what we can see in the context of Malaysia. So since the topic also covering, dance for the community empowerment. So what are the recommendations, for this dance for the community empowerment? So community empowerment through dance fosters individual well-being, social connection, and connective skills like confidence, communication, and creativity within a supportive environment. So dance provides an embodied, non-judgmental practice that helps build soft skill and emotional resilience, in diverse groups, from youth and people with disabilities to communities facing conflict or displacement. So dance projects can lead to personal growth and a stronger sense of community belonging by encouraging self-awareness, fostering independence, and offering a shared cultural and emotional experience. So, what are the examples that can be seen, when we connect, dance for the community empowerment? So, through rural youth development, dance for Parkinson's, for example, and then trauma and conflicts context. So, I'm very much into the what we call it rural, development in the context of the community, what we can see here. So how dance empowers communities? So among them, fosters social connection and community. So develop soft skills, promotes emotional well-being, and then encourage creativities and embodied learning. So builds confidence and self-awareness, and also facilitates, intercultural and intergenerational projects. So with that, just to share, I think Dr. Joel also experienced the event. I presented this in the Bajau conference. So this is how we look at here. Yeah, engaging the community, not only getting to get the data to enrich our discourse, but also given us chance, to participate in the community activities. For example, we encourage them to participate in the national and international events like festivals. So in Sempurna Sabah, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, Thailand, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, Tokyo, and the latest was last year, South Korea, when I accompanied them to join a festival in Korea. So meaning that this is what we call it the engagement, not only to get data, but also participate, be with them. So in this context, engaging community in dance, for example, here, IGAL, for the Bajau community, it not separate from the university, not only getting the data, but if possible, try to bring them as source person, very important person that could transfer the knowledge of music and dance to our next generation, our student, and also, of course, among their younger generation in the community. So this is how the community could be empowered as well. So I don't want to show the video quite long, but this is what I call it here, part of it, by engaging, and then by their participation in our academic program, also the transmission, the preservation and safeguarding of the tradition could be helped. So this is an example. Bringing the people, they are the expert, the practitioner, the local knowledge, the indigenous knowledge. So whatever we do. So in this context, also not only bringing them into our academic program, but also our discourse also can be enriched, enhanced by giving them the opportunity to be involved in our conference, seminar, and so on. So meaning that they always been referred to. Sometimes we may ask, betul kah ini apa yang kami present? So in that context, so it given them a kind of authority in what we getting, our professorship also getting from them. So this is how a kind of giving back, to the community, enriching our knowledge, but empowering them to be as what we call it, source of our knowledge. So the involvement with the community, which I may say, even though they are in the Sempurna town, big town, but in the context of the traditional knowledge of practices, I still consider them part of the rural kind of thing. So meaning that by organizing, festival for them, And this is how we may tap to more, in-depth knowledge, which not been tapped by the others before. When the people in the village came and joined, share what they have, so they expose, and of course, it's very traditional in the context of the performance and the competition. But this is how we enrich our knowledge and also empower them in the context of maintain their traditional tradition and sustain of what they practice in the village as well. So in this context, I may say that when we talk about eagle that shared between Malaysia and the Philippines, or I think eagle that in Malaysia we managed to empower through this kind of engagement and also the activities. So that's why among the youth, they look at that the eagle as not only they inherit, but it's also part of their culture, art activities, and also they perform, that they inherit from their ancestors. So this is what I mentioned that it happened in Malaysia. But of course, there are still many in the southern Philippines, many type of eagle that still been performed by the elders and also by the young generation. So in this context, when we talk about the eagle here, eagle is empowered and the community also empowered as well when their dance became very important and always been performed in many or other places that shows that how important of this community be connected with the what we call it current development. So if you can see here, it's not only about very much traditional, but the dynamic, of the dance. So it accepted by the community. It could be performed as what we call it here, energetic as possible, but maintain the form. Of course, style may be what we call it revised or added, but the form of the performance still maintain what tradition belonging. Okay, so with that, the community, accepting the innovation, because we are also talking about innovation in the context of the dance. So that's why the dance that performed in the ritual also performed by the community as part of their socializing. As you can see here,
Hebat juga orang Papar ini. Tepuk tangan untuk beliau.
This is how the eagle, perform in the context of the socializing in the wedding and many other festivals as well. So using the keyboard, for example, but of the people treat it as traditional. This is an example. Okay, so as a concluding remark, so dance, contributes to social change, as we can see, and then dance empowered community, and then also dance is always open to innovation. So what the meaning of innovation here? So in terms of the styles, what we call it, the appropriation to the context, but of course in the context of form, so it should be maintained and sustained. So how could dance be sustained? Community, among the community, and the state, and the global as well. So as I can see here, dance as the community of the community. So it's part of the local wisdom. So it's community owned. So local genius in this context should be, talking about it's not only about the community, but involving many layers, here social class, corporate, national level, and many more. So when we talk about dance as local wisdom and sustainable development, of course, we can see, as I take the example, of the Kerinci community of Kuala Lumpur. So if you trace back the tradition in Indonesia, as I shared you the photos, and these are the kids, in Kerinci, Kuala Lumpur. So the dance, what we call it here, could be sustained wherever it is, in whatever or what kind of environment. So in this context, the dance form, remain sustained, but of course in the context of new environment, so the style might be changed. So whatever it is, if we look at in the context of the sustainable development goals by UNESCO, SDGs. So number 11, sustainable what we call it, cities and communities. So we cannot deny or stop people from change or move, but the tradition still could be, what you call it, aligned, with this development. So in this context, dance as in cultural heritage and in SDGs, as what we call it, aimed by UNESCO, could be remain. Now, the last of my concluding remark here, when we talk about the what we call it, dance in the context of the innovation. So if we apply, the helixes, so I think maybe not all of you aware of these helixes, but many people aware about these helixes in research were impacting the community. So the current one is the quintuple helix model, where the importance, of the academics, civil society, the community, the government, the industry, and the natural environment when we talk about innovation. So let's see how the dance could be, what we call it, done, or research, sustained through this, what we call it, helix model. So just to share, in context of Malaysia, the quintuple helix is a kind of compulsory, because whenever the professors, in all Malaysian universities, when they apply grants, so they need to include this helixes element in their proposal. So meaning that if people apply the dance research, so it also could be falls under this quintuple helix model. So with that, if there's a mistake from my presentation, I apologize. Thank you for your kindness to listen to my presentation. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Professor Hanafi. Professor. Thank you. What an insight and topic. It's about the culture and the society, and also, yeah, I think each culture or each people has their own culture, including the dance and music, I guess, and they always bring their original culture wherever they go, right? Including the Kerinci community when they move to Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur and somewhere places, in other places. Okay, so interesting, Prof. Hanafi. Please wait for us until the Q&A session. Thank you very much, Prof. Hanafi.
Sure. Thank you again, Mas Ram.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the second speaker, which is Professor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum. Yeah. Professor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum is a professor in the Dance Education Study Program, Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang. His expertise is in pesisiran performing arts. He earned his master's and doctoral programs in the Performing Arts and Visual Arts Studies at the Postgraduate School of Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. He has been an assessor for BAN PT since 2016, and for Lamdik since 2021. Wow. He also has extensive experiences in managing academic journals as a member of the editorial board for the Harmonia Universitas Negeri Semarang, Harmonia Journal, a nationally accredited journal, Sintawan, and also accredited by Scopus Q1. Okay, I could read more because he has a huge achievements here, so many pages. Okay, to take the time shortly. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Profesor Dr. Agus Cahyono M.Hum. Prof. Agus, the time is yours.
Terima kasih, Mas Abdurrahman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Salam, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, mohon izin kami menggunakan bahasa internasional, bahasa Indonesia, dan itu sesuai dengan peraturan pemerintah. Jika ada kegiatan bertaraf internasional yang diselenggarakan di Indonesia, diwajibkan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Oleh karena itu, mohon izin kami menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, yang sama-sama kita banggakan, Prof. Hanafi. Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof. Cahyono.
Presiden Profesor Dr. Prakamas Jerupat. Good morning, Miss.
Good morning.
Dr. Julia Floren. Good morning, Pak Juli.
Good morning.
Baik. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati dan teman-teman mahasiswa yang kami banggakan. Di dalam kesempatan yang sangat istimewa ini, kami ingin menyampaikan pokok pikiran kami di dalam ICDE tahun ini, tahun 2025. Mohon dibantu teman-teman panitia untuk menayangkan judul yang kami angkat di dalam konteks seminar internasional ini, yaitu Ethnocultural versus Dance, Education for Strengthening Culture Awareness and Cross-Cultural Identity. Ini memberikan satu pemahaman bagaimana pendidikan tari yang berbasis etnokulturologi untuk penguatan kesadaran budaya dan identitas diri lintas budaya. Hal ini memberikan satu gambaran. Ya. Kami memulai dari background, mengatakan bahwa temuan kami, fenomena yang ada di lapangan, bahwa pendidikan tari itu seharusnya memiliki dua kompetensi besar, yaitu yang pertama terkait dengan keterampilan gerak dan pengetahuan teknis, serta afektif. Itu merupakan meliputi ada empati, bagaimana seseorang atau siswa berempati pada temannya, pada orang lain, mempunyai karakter, bagaimana keterbukaan budaya. Namun dalam prakteknya kalau kita lihat di lapangan, pendidikan tari di Indonesia itu masih dominan pada teknik sense. Jadi akibatnya bagaimana? Akibatnya di dalam dimensi reflektif, dimensi budaya, dan identitas sering terpinggirkan, sering termarginalkan di dalam konteks ini. Apalagi di dalam kurikulum sekolah yang bersifat monodisiplin, hanya satu disiplin yang digunakan. Tidak bisa memberikan ruang yang luas, hanya tersedia ruang yang sempit, dan tidak ada dialog kultural, dialog budaya, saling berbagi, saling bercerita tentang budaya yang berbagai macam maupun refleksi identitas. Ini bisa kita lihat di dalam penelitian Kementerian Agama di tahun 2022. Ya, ini fenomena sosial ya, merupakan Hasil penelitian mencatat 41% siswa itu memiliki kecenderungan intoleran dengan masyarakat yang beragama lain berbeda. Inilah yang menjadi titik lemah pendidikan multikultural di sekolah. Permasalahan intoleransi, eksklusivisme budaya, primordialisme, serta interpretasi agama yang kaku menuntut adanya pendekatan baru di dalam pendidikan, khususnya pendidikan tari. Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, tari jika dipahami sebagai culture text, jadi teks yang harus bisa dibaca, tidak hanya sekedar teks berupa tulisan, tetapi pertunjukan itu merupakan sebuah teks. Ini berpotensi besar menjadi sarana untuk menumbuhkan kesadaran budaya, menanamkan nilai toleransi, dan membuka pemahaman terhadap Halo, gangguan suara.
Agus.
Halo, bisa didengar suara saya?
Ya, bisa didengar Pak Agus.
Baik. Ada hal yang perlu diperhatikan di dalam sebelumnya, slide sebelumnya. Ya. Ada beberapa pertanyaan yang menggelitik, yang ada perdebatan yang belum tuntas, ada kegelisahan akademik yang belum usai. Yaitu apa? Yang pertama, bagaimana konsep pendidikan tari berbasis etnokoreologi dapat dipahami serta mendalam dengan mempertimbangkan konteks sosial, historis, dan filosofis. Ini menjadi penting memantik pertanyaan ini. Kemudian yang kedua, Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, bagaimana pembelajaran tari dengan pendekatan etnokoreologi dapat dirancang secara kontekstual dan reflektif, sehingga sesuai dengan kehidupan siswa atau anak didik di sekolah, baik sekolah formal maupun non formal maupun informal. Yang ketiga, pertanyaan yang ketiga ini menarik. Sejauh mana pendidikan tari berbasis etnokoreologi dapat menumbuhkan kesadaran budaya dan memperkuat identitas lintas budaya antar siswa. Ya, pertanyaan ini menunjukkan orientasi penelitian pada transformasi pendidikan seni yang lebih inklusif dan reflektif. Next. Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, ada konsep inti yang perlu kami sampaikan, yaitu yang pertama sebagai pilar utama di dalam discussion pagi hari ini, yaitu yang pertama nature of ethnokoreology, dan yang kedua function of dance education, dan yang ketiga integration into education. Nah, tiga hal ini merupakan konsep inti yang nanti kita gunakan di dalam membedah masalah-masalah yang tadi kita sampaikan. Nature of ethnokoreologi itu menegaskan bahwa pentingnya pembelajaran tari di dalam konteks budaya. Dengan demikian, di dalam konteks ini, tari dipahami sebagai teks budaya yang syarat simbol. Ya, kita katakan di beberapa referensi manusia itu makhluk simbol. Ya, lingkaran di dalam kehidupannya itu banyak bermunculan simbol-simbol yang merupakan satu kehidupan manusia. Demikian juga ada nilai-nilai sosial yang terkandungnya di dalam itu, kemudian ada struktur komunitas, ada stratifikasi sosial, kemudian ada fungsi sosial atau fungsi ritual. Baik fungsi ritual bagian dari fungsi primer sebuah seni pertunjukan maupun fungsi pertunjukan yang menempatkan seni pertunjukan itu sebagai hiburan maupun tontonan. Function of dance education di dalam konteks ini menunjukkan adanya pergeseran dari pengajaran yang berfokus pada teknik menuju pendekatan holistik, pendekatan yang kompleks, pendekatan yang menyeluruh. Dengan demikian tari ditempatkan sebagai sarana membangun empati, menghubungkan siswa dengan memori kolektif, dan membuka jalan bagi dialog antar budaya. Ini diberikan ruang siswa untuk berdialog, ya, untuk berdiskusi, untuk bercengkrama antar budaya, lintas budaya di dalam kehidupan, bahwa tari mampu merepresentasikan nilai komunitas, menghubungkan dengan historis, sejarah, ritual, serta menghadirkan ruang refleksi dan perjumpaan identitas. Hadirin yang kami hormati, teman-teman yang sedang join di dalam kesempatan kali ini, next berikutnya, ini merupakan contoh konkret di dalam mengimplikasikan. Slide ini, terima kasih, menampilkan contoh nyata aplikatif di lapangan terkait dengan penerapan etnografi. Seperti halnya kita bisa saksikan nanti, yaitu tari Saman dari Aceh, itu dipertunjukkan bahwa atau diperlihatkan, dipergelarkan, ditampilkan bahwa tarian ini tentu memuat nilai-nilai solidaritas, nilai-nilai spiritual, serta kolektivitas yang ritmis, yang rampak namun dinamis, tidak monoton. Nah, oleh karena itu dari sisi pendidikan, tari ini mengajarkan bagaimana siswa disiplin sosial di dalam kebersamaan dengan penari satu dengan yang lain di dalam satu pertunjukan tari Saman. Sementara itu, vokabuler yang lain itu ada tari topeng Cirebon dari Jawa Barat menyampaikan pesan moral, kemudian banyak disampaikan simbol-simbol budaya serta dinamika sosial yang kompleks. Yang semuanya itu tercurahkan di dalam wujud tari topeng Cirebon. Tentu di samping sebagai hiburan atau tontonan, tari Cirebon ini berfungsi sebagai sarana untuk memahami identitas yang plural masyarakat Cirebon, masyarakat pesisiran, mewakili sebuah masyarakat pesisiran yang kejujurannya itu menjadi satu orientasi penting di dalam mengekspresikan karya-karya seni, termasuk di dalam tari-tari identitas. Dari dua contoh ini, saudara-saudara, dirumuskan beberapa kunci komponen pembelajaran tari yang berbasis etnologi, yaitu gerak sebagai representasi budaya, pemahaman konteks sosial historis, ada nilai dan identitas kultural, ada partisipasi dalam dialog antar budaya, dan tentu ini merupakan refleksi kritis. Implikasi ini dibutuhkan atau diperlukan kurikulum kontekstual yang transformatif, juga mempertimbangkan posisi guru sebagai fasilitator budaya, serta strategi revitalisasi budaya lokal yang relevan dengan kebutuhan generasi muda. Ini salah satu contoh, mohon dibantu untuk menampilkan tari saman mungkin hanya 2-3 detik. Silakan. Langsung bisa dipercepat. Mohon dibantu suaranya. Tari saman ini tentu mengajarkan kepada siswa bagaimana disiplin dijunjung tinggi antar penari, ada kolektivitas kebersamaan di dalam menyajikan, gitu. Ini menjadi sangat penting di dalam pertunjukan tari saman dari Aceh. Silakan. Baik, bisa dibantu untuk mempercepat.
Ke Bandung nabikan sunnah jaratan
Tari saman ini merupakan satu ekspresi pengajaran dan integratif, kolektivitas, spiritualitas itu dituangkan di dalam sebuah pertunjukan tari saman. Baik, terima kasih. Berikutnya kami ingin menunjukkan itu tari topeng Cirebon. Salah satu topeng Cirebon itu mempunyai berbagai variasi, berbagai style, gaya. Kami persilahkan tari topeng Cirebon, mohon dibantu diputarkan dari Jawa Barat. Langsung saja di tengah itu, Mas. Setting tari Cirebon ini kan menggambarkan identitas masyarakat Jawa Barat, masyarakat Pasundan, yang menempatkan berbagai properti dalam subjek yang sama di panggungnya yang sama. Ada kedekatan antara penari dan pemain, ada kedekatan pelaku pertunjukan itu dengan penontonnya, dengan masyarakatnya. Oke, baik, terima kasih. Dan yang terakhir ini merupakan sebuah karya kami, tali Bugderan, ya. Merupakan satu ekspresi pesisir Semarang dalam konteks ini melihat satu fenomena budaya yang namanya arah-arahan budaya atau arah-arahan warak mendok, dan ini mengajarkan bagaimana masyarakat secara macam-macam multikultural, ada Jawa, ada Cina, ada Belanda, kemudian ada Arab, diputuskan sebagai sebuah bidang dasar sehingga terwujudlah tali Bugderan. Ini dipertunjukkan sangat digital di tahun 2018-2019 di Magelang, Jawa Tengah. Baik, terima kasih. Baik, terima kasih teman-teman. Next slide yang ke-6 kami persilahkan. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, oleh karena itu kita perlu menyampaikan ya, bagaimana sebetulnya perencanaan pembelajaran ini yang berbasis etnobiologi. Tentu bertali yang berbasis etnobiologi berorientasi pada keseimbangan antara aspek teknis dalam satu sisi, kemudian aspek kultural di sisi yang lain. Dengan demikian, siswa tidak hanya diajarkan bagaimana menghafal gerak, bagaimana memperagakan gerak, bagaimana mengekspresikan gerak tari yang disampaikan, tetapi juga diarahkan untuk memahami akar budaya. Seperti halnya tadi ada tari saman, bagaimana mempelajari akar budaya masyarakat Aceh, tari topeng Cirebon, bagaimana mempelajari karakteristik masyarakat Cirebon, masyarakat Jawa Barat, bagaimana siswa diajak untuk paham tentang aspek kultural di dalam tari modern, bagaimana ekspresi masyarakat Semarang yang multikultural, yang semuanya ada di kota Semarang. Di samping itu, siswa juga diajarkan bagaimana nilai-nilai humanistik itu dimunculkan, diajarkan, ya, dibiasakan. Tentu juga di dalam filosofi di balik setiap tarian itu tentu akan mengandung nilai-nilai yang sangat agung begitu di dalam konteks pemahaman tari, pembelajaran tari yang berbasis etnokoreologi. Oleh karena itu kami menawarkan 3 prinsip utama di dalam memahami pembelajaran yang berbasis etnokoreologi, yaitu pertama kontekstual, reflektif, dan partisipatori. Saudara-saudara yang kami banggakan, kontekstual itu berarti bagaimana materi tari itu bersumber dari budaya lokal siswa. Tentu siswa akan banyak dari berbagai daerah, sehingga pembelajaran itu terasa dekat, yang sangat relevan dengan kehidupan sehari-hari siswa. Jadi bagaimana siswa mulai dari bangun sampai melakukan aktivitas bermain, belajar di sekolah, kembali lagi bermain dengan teman-teman sampai menjelang tidur, itu merupakan bagian dari budaya lokal siswa yang bisa digunakan sebagai materi sumber, materi tari. Dan yang kedua, Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, yaitu reflektif. Apa itu reflektif di dalam konteks ini? Kita mencoba mendorong siswa untuk memahami makna simbolik gerak tari yang disajikan dan menghubungkannya dengan realitas kehidupan. Tetapi tadi kita gambarkan tari modern itu menggambarkan energi, lincah, ya, gadis Semarang yang lincah, energik, apa adanya, ya, cantik, itu memberikan satu pemahaman realitas kehidupan masyarakat Semarang. Di samping itu tentu punya makna simbolik gerak. Ya, tiap unsur gerak, tiap ragam gerak tentu mempunyai makna baik, makna simbolik, ya, makna yang mengandung arti, gerak-gerak yang mengandung arti. Nah, oleh karena itu yang terakhir Bapak Ibu, yaitu prinsip yang ketiga, yaitu partisipatori, memberikan ruang bagi siswa untuk terlibat aktif di dalam proses penciptaan tari. Jadi tidak hanya sekedar menghafal dari seorang guru, dari seorang pelatih, tetapi siswa terlibat langsung di dalam proses penciptaan. Kita pancing, kita tawarkan diskusi-diskusi budaya terkait dengan tarian. Ada satu bentuk kerjasama, ada satu bentuk gotong royong di dalam komunitas sangga, di dalam komunitas siswa, di dalam komunitas kelas, di dalam baik untuk mempersiapkan tarian itu maupun menyaksikan dalam sebuah pertunjukan. Dengan demikian, model pembelajaran recognize, related, reflect dijadikan kerangka pedagogis. Recognize itu mengajak siswa bagaimana siswa mengenali konteks budaya tarian itu. Relate membantu menghubungkan pengalaman pribadi dengan nilai budaya, dan reflect mengarahkan pada pemaknaan ulang nilai-nilai budaya bagi identitas diri. Next slide berikutnya. Ini merupakan learning plan yang kedua. Next. Mohon dibantu. Ini merupakan perencanaan pembelajaran yang kedua yang memang kami tawarkan di dalam konteks ini, yaitu bagaimana peran guru di dalam dan implikasi praktisnya di lapangan. Di dalam konteks ini guru diposisikan sebagai fasilitator budaya, pemandu refleksi, mediator sosial, serta membangun lingkungan belajar yang dialogis dan inklusif tentunya. Oleh karena itu, kita cermati kurikulum itu dituntut untuk menyertakan dimensi kultural, tidak berhenti pada aspek motorik saja, tetapi dibutuhkan dimensi kultural masuk di dalam kurikulum. Metode pengajaran tentu melibatkan pembelajaran yang berbasis proyek, praktik langsung, ada refleksi, ada kolaborasi. Ini yang menjadi pembelajaran tentu lebih menarik atas diperluasnya peran guru di dalam proses pembelajaran tari. Bagaimana evaluasinya, asesmennya di dalam pembelajaran tari yang berbasis etnokoreologi tentu diarahkan pada pemahaman nilai budaya. Bagaimana siswa memahami nilai-nilai budaya yang ada di balik tarian itu, ada sikap toleran, ada apresiasi terhadap keragaman, ada toleransi atas keragaman budaya dari berbagai asal siswa yang ada, dan tentu tari lokal ini tadi yang saya sampaikan, tari Saman, tari Cirebon, Dogdera, ini merupakan tari-tari lokal yang digali dari sumber utama pembelajaran yang merupakan satu pembanding lintas budaya dari Aceh, dari Cirebon, dari Semarang. Dengan demikian harapannya siswa dapat belajar menghargai tradisi sendiri dan memahami budaya lain, memahami tradisi lain, memahami tarian dari daerah lain dalam apa? Dalam satu kerangka pendidikan yang seimbang. Ini penting menjadi satu tawaran pemikiran kami, menjadi satu koreksi, satu kritik, baik di dalam pembelajaran di pendidikan formal, non formal, informal, menjadi hal yang penting sesuai dengan tujuan pendidikan seni yang ada di Indonesia. Next, Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, kesimpulan di dalam paparan kami, kesempatan ini tentu ada beberapa rujukan bahwa pendidikan tari yang berbasis etnokoreologi itu merupakan paradigma baru di dalam pendidikan tari. Perlu dilakukan, perlu menjadikan pertimbangan, ditawarkan paradigma etnokoreologi ini, yaitu menempatkan tari sebagai ekspresi budaya, sebagai identitas sosial, mengandung nilai-nilai kemanusiaan. Oleh karena itu pendekatan ini memperkuat kesadaran budaya, membangun identitas budaya, dan tentu menumbuhkan karakter sosial, kolektivitas, toleransi, dan tentu ada empati yang perlu ditanamkan di dalam diri siswa sejak dini sebetulnya. Sehingga ada kebiasaan, ada pembiasaan-pembiasaan yang itu akan membentuk karakter secara keseluruhan siswa yang ada di Indonesia. Tidak hanya siswa, tentu guru berperan strategis untuk menghubungkan antara siswa dengan akar budaya, menyadarkan siswa dengan akar budaya. Jadi sadar atas identitas budaya masing-masing. Dan ini digunakan juga untuk membantu refleksi, ada ruang dialog antar budaya. Oleh karena itu di dalam kesempatan tadi kami tawarkan model 3R, recognize, relate, reflect, yang menjadi landasan pedagogis yang mengikat seluruh proses pembelajaran. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, adik-adik mahasiswa yang kami banggakan, berikutnya kami menutup presentasi kami. Next, silakan. Bapak Ibu bisa membaca ini memantik ya, merangsang Bapak Ibu tentang kalimat ini. Tentu ini memberikan kalimat ini memberikan pemahaman bahwa tari adalah bahasa jiwa yang universal, berfungsi menjembatani memori budaya, bangkitkan kesadaran budaya atau kesadaran sosial, dan membentuk identitas reflektif di tengah dinamika zaman yang terus berubah. Dan ini penting di dalam konteks bagaimana kita menyadarkan masyarakat, terutama adik-adik siswa, anak didik kita yang ini merupakan mutiara-mutiara yang perlu kita pelihara sejak dini supaya tidak melenceng jauh, ya. Kemudian tetap masih dalam jalur yang benar. Tentu dibutuhkan ada kesadaran identitas, kesadaran budaya, ada toleransi, ada gotong royong. Nah, tidak cukup hanya kita memperhatikan siswa, tentu juga memperhatikan gurunya, memperhatikan perangkat pembelajaran, perangkat perkuliahan, ada kebijakan-kebijakan di tangan birokrat, ya, tentu birokrasinya juga ditata sedemikian rupa sehingga pimpinan-pimpinan yang mempunyai kewenangan itu harus berani untuk menentukan. Dan biasanya ada sedikit pemaksaan di dalam membiasakan bagaimana kita saling menghargai identitas budaya masing-masing. Saya kira itu. Terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Terakhir, next. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Prof. Agus. What a presentation, what a topic. We were reminded that dance is not only movement from the presentation, but also a language of the soul. I would like to quote the closing that delivered by Prof. Agus. It's very beautiful quotation, I guess, Prof. Agus. It bridges memory, awakens cultural awareness, and shapes reflective identities. An choreographical approach invites us to design dance education that is contextual, meaningful, and capable of nurturing cross-cultural understanding among students. Wow. Okay, thank you very much, Profesor Dr. Agus Cahyono. What a closing.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Pak Agus. Next, ladies and gentlemen, all the presenters are also participants. Let's move to the third speaker. We have here Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jirajarupat.
Sawadika.
Sawadika, Pakamas Tan. Yeah. I would like to briefly read the curriculum vitae of Pakamas Jirajarupat. Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jirajarupat is the head of the doctoral program in performing arts at the Faculty of Fine and Applied Arts, Swan Sonanda Rajabat University. He earned her PhD in Drama and Theatre Studies from Royal Holloway, University of London in 2015. She also has over 15 years of training in Thai classical dance, grounded in her studies at Chulalongkorn University and the Dramatic Arts College, Krom Silpakon in Bangkok, Thailand. She also authored a book chapter, Lakon Pantang, Thai hybrid dance drama on the international stage in the early 20th century, published in Lives in Motion by Routledge, India. Wow. Published in Routledge. She is an active performance artist. Oh, she is a very good dancer. Creating works in both traditional Thai and contemporary dance theater forms. Okay, actually she has a huge achievements here, but okay. I couldn't read more than this because we have to stick to the presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jirajarupat.
Thank you very much, Kim. Thank you. Okay, let me sharing my screen first. Have you seen my screen? Is that okay?
Yes, we can see clearly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oops. Oh, sorry. Okay. Good morning, distinguished researchers. It is my great honor to be here today as a guest speaker at this important international conference on dance and education. I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to the organizer for bringing us together to share knowledge, experience, and visions for the future of our field. Today's my talk is entitled Sustainability Development in Dance Education, Building an Artistic Ecosystem in Thai Dance Higher Education. It draws upon my research and teaching at Swansunanta Ratchapat University in Bangkok, which I will call SSRU. And I hope it will resonate with many of you who are working on similar challenges around the world. I have divided my talk in three parts. Firstly, I will give the introduction and challenging frameworks of dance education in Thailand through SSRU case study. And then I will provide the process of transforming and innovating in dance education for social change. Finally, I will propose how the artistic ecosystem from Thai Dance Department at SSRU serves as a guiding framework for the sustainable development in dance education. Okay, let me begin with the introduction. We are living in a time of profound transformation. Higher education in the art, and particularly in dance, is under pressure to adapt to rapid social, culture, and economic change. When we talk about sustainable development in the arts, it is not only about the environment. It also means safeguarding cultural heritage, promoting inclusive and equitable education, and fostering creativity and innovation. Thai dance education is deeply connected to national identity and is increasingly linked to Thailand's soft power strategy. The purpose of my study, first, to examine the institutional and pedagogical reform at SSRU, and second, to explore the concept of artistic ecosystem as a guiding idea for sustainable development in dance education. I also employ a qualitative case study combining document analysis, interview, classroom observation, and focus group discussion. Research findings reveal that institutions responsible for dance education face several key challenges. The first concerns university policy and quality assurance system. Faculty members are required to constantly adapt their teaching to align with this policy, while also preparing extensive documentation to meet the demand of quality assurance framework. The second challenge concerns the noticeable decline in student enrollment in performing art program. Although SSRU, the decrease has not been observed, the overall trend clearly points downward. This is largely due to the rapid expansion of the new performing arts program across the country, combined with the significant demographic shift caused by declining youth population nationwide. Another challenge we face concerns the demands of the performing arts labor market. Today, the industry increasingly seeks graduates with diverse knowledge and multiple areas of expertise, rather than narrowly specialized professionals, as was often the case in the past. All of these challenges have inevitably led to effort within the discipline to adapt and initiate meaningful change. As the one of my favorite metaphor put it, in today's world, the ideal employee is like a duck, calm on the surface but paddling furiously underneath. In the other words, adaptability and versatility are now essential quality. Faced with these challenges, we or our staff ask ourselves a crucial question. How can we adapt so that our graduates are truly prepared for the labor market? Our first step was to look inward, to reassess our identity, resource, and area of influence. We focused on the department itself, the smallest, yet most vital unit of performing arts education. We believe that real transformation can begin with small, deliberate change. If effective, this change can expand outward, leading to broader and more sustainable reform. Therefore, our process of changing began with rethinking the capstone creative project, the final work that defines each student journey. We believe this course reflects not only their artistic identity, but also their readiness to step into the professional world of performing arts. Our reform began by changing the approach to artistic creations. Instead of focusing narrowly on a single skill, students are now encouraged to develop holistic projects that integrate multiple abilities. This also allows those with diverse talents to showcase their strength without being confined solely to traditional Thai classical dance. We structure this creative process into 3 stages as follows. The first stage is the skill assessment. In this stage, students must demonstrate their technical competence across multiple domains such as choreography, stage design, lighting, sound, costume, makeup, and production management. This ensures that they are equipped with the fundamental skills required for professional practice. Second stage, students have to creative work presentation. Students to present performance that reflects their artistic visions and identity. This allows them to experiment, innovate, and bring their personal voice into the field of performing arts. The third step is academic output. Students are required to produce a written research article or conference paper. This stage bridges practice with scholarships, positioning students not only as performers and creators, but also as a contributor to academic discourse. This reform ensures that students graduate not only as dancer or choreographer, but as versatile practitioners, able to navigate both artistic and academic domains. In addition, to change in course content and teaching model, which requires significant adjustment from students, there has also been a transformation in the role of teacher. No longer merely transmitter of knowledge. Teachers are now mentor, facilitator, and co-creator, guiding and supporting students rather than simply delivering information. This aligned with broader global shift in dance education, where the teacher is no longer the sole authority, but a mentor who empowers students to take ownership of their learning. Another key dimension is community engagement. At SSRU, performances are staged not only for academic audience, but also in public community setting. Students and faculty collaborate with local partners, reinforcing Thai dance as a living, evolving practice. From this process of change, let me share some examples of student work from the Creative Dance Project. What makes this piece remarkable is that all the creators were trained primarily in traditional Thai dance. Yes. Through the new approach I described earlier, their project became diverse, experimental, and surprisingly innovative. The first example is Sunanta Cabaret. This performance reimaged the history of our school, which have been the palace before. This palace, embracing theme and gender of diversity, is highlight the elegance of cabaret style, with strong stage presence and stylish costume at the same time. It challenged convention boundary, showing how Thai dance students can respond to contemporary cultural dialogue. This is an example of the performance. As you may know, the cabaret is for the lady boy. So all of them in this performance are mixed between lady boys and the student as a girl and boy together, perform together. But all of them basic is a Thai dance basic skill. So I will move on to the next production. The next production is the Rak Long Khu. This is a mixed media contemporary dance drama. Students combine Western choreography with digital projections and innovative stage design. The result is a powerful performance that demonstrates how technology can be integrated into Thai dance education, expanding both its artistic and academic reach. Let me show you very quickly. Okay. Finally, oh, sorry. The next example is Sirena. This performance is inspired by mermaid methodology. This works blend contemporary movement vocabulary with highly creative makeup and
recording
hairstyling.
stopped.
The piece is visually striking, transporting audience into a mythical underwater world. It shows how students can cross discipline, combining dance with visual design to create immersive experience. And finally, this is the Pruksa Himapan makeup design. This project focuses on advanced makeup artistry, where mythical creatures from the Himapan forest are reinterpreted through digital imaging and stagecraft. It demonstrates not only technical expertise, but also how Thai cultural imagination can be revitalized through modern tools and new perspective. Together, these four examples illustrate the power of an artistic ecosystem approach. When students are given the space to integrate their skill, their work becomes more than traditional performance. They become bridge between heritage, innovations, and contemporary society. From these innovations, we began to see how the idea of an artistic ecosystem could extend beyond the university by connecting curriculum, pedagogy, community, and technology. This ecosystem provides a strong foundation for sustainable development in dance education. But sustainability is a broad concept. To make it concrete, we frame our discussion around the three key pillars of sustainable development: economy, social, and environmental sustainability. Let me start with the first pillar, economic sustainability. One of the key goals of our reform is to ensure that graduates are not only artists, but also professionals prepared for the creative economy. Through the three-stage model, students develop multiple competency ranking, from choreography and performance to stage craft production and even academic researcher. This multi-competency approach aligns with both Thailand cultural policy and broader visions of the creative economy. It also supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 8, which emphasize decent work and economic growth. In other words, dance education at SSRU is no longer limited to training performer or teacher. It now produces graduates who can adapt to diverse professional pathway, whether in cultural industry, tourism, education, or research, making that skill economically viable and socially valuable. The second pillar of social sustainability, at SSRU, we see dance not only a performance, but as a living cultural resort. By engaging with communities, our students and faculty bring dance into everyday space beyond the campus and the stage. Projects such as Sunanta Cabaret also open the dialogue on diversity and LGBTQ inclusions, reminding us that dance can foster social participation and cultural belonging. In this way, our work reflects the spirit of SDG 11's sustainable city and community. The third pillar is environmental sustainability. At first glance, dance may seem far removed from environmental concern. Yet, our reform show otherwise. By integrating digital media and mixed state design, we reduce reliance on resource-heavy production. More importantly, we begin to cultivate ecological awareness in performance, making laying the groundwork for photographic and eco-aesthetic perspectives in the future. This direction aligns with SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. These three pillars show us that sustainability in dance education is not achieved through one action alone. It requires connection between curriculum, community, and culture, between tradition and innovation. As this course reminds us, sustainability arises not from isolated efforts, but from the dynamic interactions of multiple stakeholders. We are now reached the final part of my presentations. At this stage, I would like to share some key lessons we have learned from our journey towards sustainable dance education. So, what key lesson can we take from this journey? The first, sustainability in dance education cannot be achieved through isolated projects. It requires systematic and integrated reform. Second, our graduates must be versatile artists who are digital fluent and adaptable to change. And the third, the future of our dance depends on strengthening connections between the institution, society, and environment. These lessons remind us that sustainable development in the arts is not a single achievement, but an ongoing process of alignment, reflection, and renewal. To conclude, the experience of SSRU show that sustainability in dance education is possible when we blend tradition with innovation, academic rigor with community engagement, and creativity with social responsibility. As Pataraki reminds us, dance can act as a bridge between culture and inspire dialogue for a sustainable future. This is the visions we seek to carry forward, that dance education will not only preserve cultural heritage, but also nurture resilience, foster dialogue, and contribute to more sustainable world. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to our discussion in the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Assistant Dr. Professor Dr. Pakamas Dirajerupat. I greatly appreciate with your presentation. Yes, we have seen that a powerful example of how universities, in this case SSRU, can reform the curricula, redefine the role of teachers as mentors, integrate community engagement, and embrace digital technology. Okay, this ecosystem approach demonstrates how dance education can remain relevant, balancing tradition and innovation while preparing graduates to thrive in a changing creative economy. Okay, thank you very much, Pak Kamas Dirajerupat. Please wait a moment until the Q&A session. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the fourth speaker. We have Dr. Joel Florence Patrice Jacinto. Dr. Joel is the Dean of the School of Heritage Education of the Asian Institute for Maritime Studies, AIMS. She earned the doctoral program in Philippine Sociocultural Studies from the University of the Philippines and a master's degree in art theory at the same university, in University of the Philippines as well. The peer for the University of the Philippines Arts Productivity System and a co-chair of the Research and Documentation Network of World Dance Alliance Asia Pacific. She also a dancer, dance scholar, critic, and educator, a respected dance critic in Manila, the capital city of Philippines. She established Round Through Dance magazine in 2008 and has written for several publications, significantly contributing to the 2018 update of the CCP Encyclopedia of Philippine Art. Wow. Currently, she also on the editorial board of the Journal of Southeast Asian Archaeology and Fine Arts, SPAFA Journal, published by the Siameo Regional Center for Archaeology and Fine Arts since 2015. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Joel Florence Patrice Jacinto. Dr. Joel, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. It is actually afternoon already here in the Philippines. We are an hour ahead, and I will be speaking on cross-cultural collaboration as a new strategy for dance education in the Philippines. So I'll go ahead. So there is a growing need for cross-cultural collaboration in dance education in the Philippines, given the nature of its existence due to post-colonial factors. In the capital city of Manila and its surrounding metropolis, dance education is primarily Western in nature. Ballet schools have been established enough to produce professional grade dancers to feed into four major ballet companies that regularly produce shows in public and commercial performance spaces. Yes, you may show the next slide. At the same time, folk dance had been codified and taught in physical education classes in elementary and secondary schools throughout the country. Having both modes exist in the city centers, such as in the Cultural Center of the Philippines, or CCP, which serves as the national theater, implies that Filipinos are a highly civilized people while also able to retain its national identity. However, what exactly is national identity when cultural hegemony is forced on plural cultures? The Philippines takes pride in its presentation of its multiple cultures to represent a nation full of color and vibrancy, of developed and splendid local customs and ways of life. In the interest of nation building, archives of art and cultural forms were assembled to attempt to define what was common among the people. In the process of establishing a nation, the state had recognized dance's ability to identify the communities that perform them. This spurred the collection of as many dance forms as can be collected throughout the country. Preserved as cultural products, the dances were found to be useful when performed on stage for both local and international audiences, as well as when taught in schools to educate Filipino youth about their culture. Next slide. So I'll just give a note about this next slide. So these photos are from the ballet Darangin Naglalitugan, which is based on the Maranao epic The Darangan and choreographed by Hanera Caringal for Philippine Ballet Theater, premiered in 2008. So a year before 2008, the UNESCO recognized the Darangan as an intangible cultural heritage, masterpiece of intangible cultural heritage, and therefore the Philippine Heritage Committee decided to commission a ballet. So to celebrate the awarding of the masterpiece title, and also for the rest of the Philippines to understand to understand the gravity of the award. Now, since not everyone in the Philippines can speak the language of the Maranao, they decided that ballet was the best way to perform the culture to the rest of the Philippines. So this is the context of this slide. I continue. While initial research efforts had been rigorous and well-intentioned, the objective of collecting these cultural products into an archive that can define Filipino-ness led to the superficial analysis of the dances and resulted in sweeping generalizations and oversimplification. Dances were sorted into arbitrary categories and soon viewed and performed outside of their original context. The oversimplification of culture leads to misrepresentation and alienation, but since the practice had been standardized for several decades, attempts to correct this have been few and slow in coming. That said, each step still makes a difference. This paper proposes to organize cross-cultural collaboration to address issues of oversimplification, to enable further research on specific dance forms, and build proper documentation of these research dances for better representation of the dance and the community that dances it. More than resolving the ethnic dichotomy, participants in this collaboration should be able to form a symbiotic relationship that not only addresses the problematics of Philippine dance education, but enriches it. So this investigation was inspired by the writing of my PhD dissertation entitled The Filipino Ballet, Examining Processes of Indigenization and its Identification in and of Nation. While it would seem that ballet has little to do with folk and traditional dance, my analysis of how ballets can represent Filipino-ness had much to do with the invention of Philippine folk dance. Both forms were invented the way that Terence Hobsbawm had coined the invention of tradition for similar nation-building purposes. And they developed side by side at the same time. The main difference between them was folk dance had to pretend or had to present itself as an authentic form, while ballet and its related forms, modern dance, jazz, and contemporary dance, as well as fusions in between, could present Filipino-ness as abstractions and allowed creative freedom in choreography. The problems of folk dance had already been unearthed in the previous study. Actually, there's a slide here that is pertinent to what I'm going to say. Could you scroll up maybe a few slides from now? Maybe two or three. Oh, we can do this also. Ito muna. Okay. So, okay, please watch this video.
Kijut baha, kebit tangan. Yung action apa? Agon. Pelintang. Style niya yan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tapos, opo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tapos tumitingin sa baba.
Pero, tapos, Basilio, but I cannot work. Sorry. Wait lang. I'm participating at an international dance company. Oh!
Saan yung pumunta babae? Kunin mo siya.
Tingnan mo naman may bumabati sa kanila, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yung basic security.
Okay, thank you. Although that's not what I meant. But okay, I will continue reading. So I hope the video was clear on your end. It's rather choppy on mine, but I hope everybody was able to understand what was inside the video. So the problems of folk dance had already been unearthed in the previous study, galvanized by case studies that show the detriments of sweeping generalization, such as Usupay Kadar's critique of the repertoire supposedly attributed to the Maranao by the Bayanihan Folk Dance Company. Another is the unfavorable reaction of the Philippine Folk Dance Society to Elena Rivera Merano's book on the Subli, which they said negates the original research done by Francisco Reyes Aquino. Another is the feud between Ligaya Amabangsa, author of a book on the Tausug Pangalay, and her student, MCM Santa Maria, who did further research on the Pangalay and found that the Sama called their dance not Pangalay but Iglag. And other observations by Barbara Gerland of misrepresentations of the Philippines from the repertoire that's used by Philippine cultural nights. Okay, so these case studies highlight the need to address these problems, which require dance education and practice over a whitewashing of existing sets. So going back to dance of cross-cultural collaboration, the first instance of collaboration where I saw its potential, please do not scroll. Please do not change the slide. Okay, never mind. Okay, so the first instance of collaboration where I saw its potential was in 2018 at the International Conference on Bajau Sama Maritime Affairs in Southeast Asia, or ICON Bajau 2018, organized by the University Malaysia Sabah, where during downtime between sessions, one of the dancers from a performing group from Tabawan Island in Tawi-Tawi, Philippines, taught a visiting Filipino-American scholar and dancer from California how to dance Igal Tabawan. So that was the video that we presented earlier. Given its specific motifs, movements, and nuances that could not be seen in other versions of the eagle. Granted that the film was looking for new additions to the repertoire of his folk dance group in the US, this approach to research is informed by the mistakes of the past and careful consideration of the dance as its own living tradition, rather than as a useful artifact. The PhilArt scholar had several questions which the Tabawan dancers, their interpreters, and other dance scholars engaged in discussion. So as you saw in the video earlier, it wasn't just the two dancers who were in the moment. So there were also other scholars surrounding them. There was the master teacher discussing with another scholar of what was important in the inflections of the dance, if you noticed that earlier. So also those who have been to Sabah, yes, that is the Tunsakaran Museum in the background. It is the lengthy discourse that satisfied all parties and showed the values of collaboration and research instead of a simple exchange of information. Therefore, it is the collaboration itself, based in practice, that serves as the main method for this research. This paper details initial explorations of cross-cultural collaboration, which you can see in this slide, in what hopes to be a long-term project. So the aforementioned Eagle Tabawan and its related forms of Eagle are points of great interest to me as a scholar of dance and of identity and heritagization studies because they overturn what I understood of Philippine dance, which was safely ensconced in ballet and staged Philippine folk dance. Despite being an active dance practitioner since my childhood, I had been under the impression that all dance had to be learned in a rigid, controlled environment, and that the folk dances, as performed by folk dance companies such as the Bayanihan, were the same dances performed in their place of origin. My assumptions may imply that I had lived a rather sheltered life, but to be fair, my exposure to arts and culture were dictated by national agenda. Please scroll up. I danced ballet and the goal was to perform at the Cultural Center of the Philippines, where ballet had been thriving in Manila, even before the CCP was established in 1969. By then, ballet in the Philippines had started to fulfill functions of national agency. That there were fully functional ballet companies in the Philippines emphasizes its strong presence in the country, since these dancers had trained lengthily for them to achieve the level of performance competence. Now, ballet existed with Philippine folk dance at the CCP, and folk dance troops functioned the same way ballet companies did, employing and training dancers, building choreography and repertoire, presenting spectacular productions on the main theater stage to sold-out audiences, which proves that my confusion is not uncommon. Scroll up some more, please. Thank you. Sige, one more. Okay, stop, please. All right. No. Go back to the. Not yet. Please stay on the. Yes. Okay. So many Filipinos also assume that these stage dances are exactly as they're originally performed because this is how they were presented at the CCP by the state folk dance ensemble. So when you say state folk dance ensemble, it is one dance group to represent the entire nation state. And how can one dance group represent an entire nation? So the repertoire of the Bayanihan, which is actually the repertoire of all the other folk dance ensembles in the country, are supposed to encompass all of the dances that were collected that I mentioned earlier from the top of the Philippines, Apari, until Tawi-Tawi and Holo, and at the bottom of the Philippines, in the south. So the Bayanihan is just singled out because it was the first that gained international recognition when it performed at the Brussels Universal Exposition in 1958, and it received a standing ovation there and an invitation to perform at the Ed Sullivan Show. They were a source of pride for the Philippines and spurred the competitiveness among folk dance troops in hopes of receiving government subsidy for tours and performances. With the Bayanihan status as exemplar folk dance company, it is not surprising for other troops to emulate the preference for spectacle, which led to a standardization in Philippine folk dance performances. So the Bayanihan is celebrated for their spectacular rendition of traditional dances in a program organized to showcase as much of the diverse rainbow of cultures in the country as they could. But they have always stressed the authenticity of their programs, that the dances performed on stage are products of extensive research by teams that were patterned after the pioneering efforts of Francisco Reyes Aquino, which admittedly have encouraged the affirmation simplification in dance research. Next slide, please. The reclaiming of indigenous traditions was a reaction to the overpowering colonial mentality retained by many Filipinos during the time that Spain had sold the Philippines to the United States. It is during this era of recovering the past to reclaim a national culture because the United States were allowing the Philippines to practice our culture, whereas Spain had actually burned all evidences of our culture to the ground so that we could accept theirs. So you can imagine that the Philippines were actually did not have its own cultural identity and had to invent its own identity, had to create one. Hold on, please. Okay, so Francisco Reyes Aquino and her research team, later the Philippine Folk Dance Society, Lucrecia Reyes Ortola and her research team under the Bayanihan, and other similar research teams that were affiliated with folk dance companies and folk dance troops were collecting dances to save Philippine dances from obsolescence in a period of rising infatuation with American culture. The initial project was for Francisco Reyes Aquino's master's degree at the University of the Philippines, and later, the UP had officially formed a research team to collect more dances and music. The team sought to document these intangible cultural products as information on these dances or any traditional dances in the Philippines were previously unavailable. Over the years, more dances were collected and categorized into several volumes. This is the volume 1, Philippine Folk Dances volume 1 that you see on the screen. The codification of the dances by steps and movement descriptions were intentionally for others to learn and further disseminate, which is why it became easy to teach them in elementary and secondary schools. This prompted the development and institutionalization of nationwide dance clinics by the Philippine Folk Dance Society and the standardization of what is now known as Philippine Folk Dance. However, dances that were once typically improvisatory or participatory were now set to define specific steps performed at specific counts and repeated for specific measures. Therefore, they are not exactly the same dance. They're not exactly the same dances anymore. This is perhaps why, can we go to the next slide? This is perhaps why there have been many questions about authenticity, about the performing arts troupe. As early as 1967, Maranao ethnomusicologist Susupoy Kadar had enumerated, next slide please, had enumerated discrepancies between the dances performed by the Bayanihan and actual practices of the Maranao. While the company brochures and performance programs emphasizes their authenticity, Kadar disputes this by discussing all the Maranao dances in the repertoire and how they bear no resemblance to actual Maranao practice. His comparisons imply a blatant disregard for the culture, but also suggest that perhaps there had been a misunderstanding in the learning of the dances or in the analysis of the source material, given that the dances were collected from at least 28 cultural and ethno-linguistic groups. He urges that the Bayanihan should admit to original artistic creation instead of full authenticity, as many dance educators use the Bayanihan repertoire as a source of information. The company's costume designer The company's costume designer and chronicler, Isabel Santos, emphasizes that the theatricalization of their choreography, music, and costumes in a collective Bayanihan memoir, but the notion of authenticity in the repertoire persists. Anthony Shea, who was a traditional dance ensemble performer and director before he started doing dance research, wrote about the difference between traditional dances that you see on stage and dances in the field. While these two are not the same, Shea proposes that we see them as parallel traditions, where one dance informs the other and vice versa, contributing improvements in the process. Acknowledging that the version of the dance that is seen on stage is an elaboration of the original should make sense and be easily acceptable to dance researchers and practitioners. However, the nation of folk dance, the nature of Philippine folk dance does not allow this assertion, as if the validity and credibility of the dance is destroyed if it is deemed inauthentic. So how can we change these? Well, this is through dance education. So in the dance program of the Asian Institute of Maritime Studies, which is connected to the theater and dance programs, and the performing arts program of AIMS, where I am the dean of School of Heritage Education, we actually emphasize this already. So we start from where we are, and then we go forward. We move forward. So what we do is we invite. We have a collaboration with an organization that gives scholarships to displaced Sama and Sama Banini and Sama Dilaut children, so that they are able to study and also they're able to live happy lives. So they have an organization here where our institution is, and we have an exchange program. So the exchange program essentially is we do they are resource persons where their parents, as you will see in the video that we will be showing, their parents will be providing us information about their dance practices, and in return, we will be also giving dance and theater workshops to the students, to the scholars of the organization. Can we show the video, please? The second video. Hold on, pause a bit. Thank you. Sige, don't pause.
Oh, yung sa boys, walang ganyan. Di ba, boys? Di ba, Kuya Ma?
Thank you very much. Okay, so going to the scroll up, please. The next slide. Ayan, this is a photo of an example of the Bayanihan folk dance company. So they're very opulent, very well, very beautiful and polished and refined, and This is one of the dances that Usukoy Kadar said does not exist in actual Maranao culture. So scroll up some more. I have actually wrote a paper on this separately, but that's not the topic today, and I will go to my topic. So one more, next slide, please. So cross-cultural collaboration, even if both of us, both the groups that you saw earlier were Filipino, this is still considered cross-cultural because we are talking about two different cultures within one nation. Given that the Philippines is a country of multiple plural cultures. So us in the cities, we do not know the actual dance practices and should not be complacent that those that are presented to us are the actual dance practices. That is unfair and misrepresents the original culture that performs it. So as Professor Hanafi said earlier, that I would be speaking on more of the Igal and the Pangalay and the dance that you saw earlier that was being taught to those were the theater and dance majors of my program here at Ames. They're actually they're actually they have no idea what the real dance form looks like, because that is not what the dance looks like in on stage. So they would see a different dance form, but then the dance that is still practiced today in the villages, in the communities, is a different dance form, and we should acknowledge this. And more people learning about dance in the Philippines should understand the difference so that we avoid misrepresentation and alienation. So this goes
Recording in
beyond
progress.
this goes beyond the idea that we are just it's a researcher looking outward and looking inward at another group. It goes beyond that dichotomy, and that it should be that we should both learn. So it is not just that we are teaching. As you can see in this photo, this is our dance faculty, Miss Gia Giginto, teaching a ballet stretch to the scholars, to the young scholars of Sun for All Children organization. She's teaching them ballet, and they are really happy to be learning it. But they must also understand that there is also value in the dance traditions that they already have. So we are trying to establish a program that lets this symbiotic relationship continue. Scroll up, please. So this is still cross-cultural because we are looking at two different sets of people with two different life ways. So here's an example. So our master teacher is Redsmina Puhagan Tanjini. She never really set out to be a master teacher, but she is recognized in her community as the best dancer in the community. And I have asked her to teach because and then this goes against the regular practice of the younger generation learn the dance from watching and copying, and they are not actually teaching the dance. They should not, or they do not have the regular practice of actually teaching the dance. But today we have to change the way culture works, because if she does not teach the dance to other people, then how will we learn what their dance tradition looks like? In the second, on the photo to the right, our dance student, this is Angel Banzuelo, who is a third-year dance student, is giving a warm-up to these teenagers from the Sun for All Children organization. So we're hoping that it's a cross-cultural collaboration because we are sharing cultures with each other. And this will be enriching for not just for our students, but also for the displaced communities that are living here in Manila at the moment. One more scroll up. So I would just like to share that this photo is interesting, very interesting and related to this topic. So that's me laughing because I am the MC of this performance, where this girl, Adeline, who is a Malaysian, is dancing the eagle. And we are laughing because we recognize that she is actually teaching me what the eagle. So this is an interview in between a performance of Kisuma at the University Malaya, and she is explaining to me what the eagle is. And she said, and it's from the Philippines. And we're laughing because she's like, why am I explaining to you when you should know already? But that's the case in the Philippines. We're not exactly sure what the eagle is because it's not recognized. This is I will not go into the detail, but this is a problem of the oversimplification that the eagle and the pangalay are the same dances. And the reason why we are laughing here is because there is obviously a problem somewhere where a Malaysian knows how to dance the eagle better than a Filipino. And emphasizing the need for cross-cultural collaboration. So I will look forward to the questions during the discussion. That's it for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Joel. Okay, uh, I noticed that the representation is never natural, right? Dance must go beyond to the limitation of national hegemony and strive for genuine cultural dialogue. About the, is there, there are two kind of culture there, influenced by Western and the original genuine or the genuine of Philippines culture, right? Okay.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Joel. Okay, right. Now let's go into the Q&A session for all participants and presenters here. We invite all participants to be able to ask questions to all speakers by raising your hand. You can deliver by oral, or you can also deliver your question by typing your question on the chat column. Please state your name and affiliation first, then you may ask a question and to whom the question is addressed. Okay. Bapak Hafid Bahtiar. Oke, silahkan, please Pak Hafid, you can open your mic.
Okay, thank you. It's my sounds clear?
Yes, great.
Okay. My question is addressed to all of the speakers, but maybe it's relevant with Assistant Professor Pakamas and Dr. Julie's topic. As we know, social media is growing so rapidly that we can barely contain it. One phenomenon is that many teenagers are finding it easier to memorize choreography in TikTok. My question, how do you see the phenomenon in the world of dance, especially dance education? And maybe in my second question, it's a general question maybe, especially AI, artificial intelligence. How do you leverage AI in the world of dance while embracing innovation for the future? Kapun kap.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hafid Bahtiar. The question addressed to two great speakers here, the most beautiful one.
Maybe Dr. Joel, do you want to share the idea first or anything else?
Yes.
I was okay. Sorry, I have a class. They're sitting there and listening, and then they heard. They said, "What language is that?" And I said, "Oh, this is international. So there are speakers from Thailand and Indonesia and Malaysia." So I'm just explaining to them. But okay, so yes, AI and TikTok are upon us, and I think TikTok is, while many find it annoying, but actually that's a reality that it's annoying to us older generation, but it's a reality that that's how the younger generation deal with their everyday life, and that's how they also share information. So I think if we're able to figure out how to use TikTok to get the younger generation interested in our culture, there are some, of course, I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know. I'm on Instagram. Yes, I'm on Instagram, and on Instagram there are reels that are actually very informative. So they show like they have tidbits about history, and also to get people interested in, oh, what kind of dance form is that? Here they just heard Mr. Hafid
Yes.
speaking. You greeted in Thai, right? And then they heard that, and they were so like, wow, what's that? What are they saying? So here's the idea that it's so easy to grab attention and get interest from digital means. We should capitalize on that. We should figure out how do we use it without running the burden of oversimplification. There should be some way to encourage people to also learn more about about the topic, about the culture. Like, these are just entry points. They're introductions. They should be considered that this is not all it is. Because once you say that this is all of it, then you're misleading an entire generation of kids into. So I think there's a lot of potential. I actually hate AI because I'm checking papers. I just failed like
Yes, me
seven.
too, me too.
Yes, right. I failed
Yes.
because they submitted ChatGPT written papers, and I was like, I already told you at the start that I will fail you if you submit ChatGPT, but we have to learn how to deal with it. And I think we should not sweep it under the table. We should address it. We should learn with it. So with dance, there are so many possibilities. So there. So it's now your turn.
Okay.
Dr.
Okay. Please feel free to call me Tan or Tan. Yeah. Thank you very much for very interesting questions. And just curious to know, you can speak Thai very clear. Mr. Hafid, is
Yes,
that
thank
right?
you. Yeah, right.
Okay. I'm not sure that I catch your question well, but I think your first question is about the phenomenon about the TikTok and the remembering of the dance or the choreography of the student,
Yes,
right?
right.
Yes, okay. Personally, for me, I'm quite, I quite feel wonderful and feel wonder that how the dance will be going beyond the TikTok. I think nowadays the student, especially, I don't know other place, but my student, okay, they use the TikTok as a space. It's the kind of learning space. If we think that the TikTok is a kind of the social media, is okay, it's social media. But if we think that is the learning space, is the learning space. And I think that TikTok is serve need of the young generation very, very much. I taught at the Sosunanta more than 20 years, and I found the changing of the generation, the changing of the students' style. And I found that nowadays the students, they learn very quickly.
Yes.
Very quickly, very fast. But okay, the concentration is a little bit short, but they learn very fast. They can catch many information that they want. But so this is the what I said in my presentation. We are teacher. We need to change myself. We need to change our style too. How we can teach the student who can catch many information on the digital space like this. They learn on the TikTok is okay. They use the TikTok as the space is okay. But how you can train them to learn on the right way of the dancing, especially in tradition. This is our teacher duty. And for sure, we don't have more more time to focusing just only one by one in the as same as in the past. But we need to find another new approach to teach them. and let them awareness of the positive way of the social media or the TikTok. Use the TikTok as a learning space and let them know how they need to improve themselves through the real teacher like us. This is what I'm thinking. And I try to adapt myself to on this platform too. Normally I use the Facebook, but nowadays I try to move myself to the TikTok, and I survey the TikTok world, and I found that it's very interesting. Many information that I never known it before, and it's opened my mind a lot. This is the first question that I think, in my opinion, I can answer you or not. I don't know. But the second question you asked me about the AI in the world in the dance, right? How to use the AI in dancing,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes.
Of that question.
AI, yeah.
Very interesting questions. And I think we need to open our mind about the AI and the dance. I taught my student, they study the PhD level in my university. They come and study and they want to know about the phenomenon of the AI and between AI music and dance and the dancing created by human. So they want to know that how the AI dance and human dance negotiate together, and what is the aesthetic of the dance for nowadays. I think this is very interesting point. And it's very go beyond the all knowledge like in my generation, because when they're talking about the AI, it's not only about the form, but it's about the technique and how the technique to be the humanization of the dancing nowadays. This is very interesting. So, I present in my paper as well, I told that we open the session for the student who want to do any kind of creative project. They can applying the AI in the dance. And I encourage them to use the AI to create the music, the song for dancing. Because of what, because of very cheap. It's very cheap. And dancing and dancer dance student, they cannot create the song on your own normally. When they need to create or choreograph something, they need to go to find some musician or the composer and pay the money to them, very expensive, and let them to create the song or the music. After that, create the dance movement. But I allow them to study about the Suno.
Yeah.
To learn to making the creative music. Maybe just a little bit short because they still use the free trial. But it's open their vision to create the performance and let them survey themselves, negotiate with the AI. I think this is the way of learning for the future, in my opinion. Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's clearly answered my question. Thank you, thank you. Maybe in the future we have to get another conference with how AI used in life now.
Yes. That nowadays have a lot of productions created between the human dancing with the AI. For example, like Pichet Kanchun, our many people in here may know him. He is very famous dancer and the founder of Pichet Dance Troupe. In Bangkok, Thailand, is very famous in Asia too, and Europe too. He created the dance and developed his dance movements based on the AI at the moment, and his production is very popular. And I also found some production from China, humans dancing with the AI, but it's not just a kind of the robot. but the shadow of the AI.
Wow.
Very, very
Interesting.
interesting.
Yes, interesting.
Yeah, and it's a kind of collaboration between the arts and scientists.
Yes.
This is the progressive of the knowledge of the human. After this phenomenon happened, I think the most important thing that we need to going back and recheck ourselves what is our position right now.
Yes.
As we are like a traditional teacher, we always teaching and make the student imitate our dancing. So how we can encourage them to think out of the frame, go beyond the old knowledge and find a new way and digging to find themselves to make the dance develop for the future. This is our duty. And I think this is the very difficult for us to think about it now.
Yes, thank you so much for the answer. Thank you so much, Pak Kempling. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Dr. Julie.
okay, thank you, Pak Afid. Yes, that's a very interesting discussion because AI has treated everyone here, including the dancer in dancing world, in music, and also treated the. Is it possible that AI will replace the real, the human dancer, or the human musician? Yes, we don't know.
We don't know. But they have another question. But actually, this question I have been raised this question before with my PhD student. And my PhD student, they said, no, never, teacher. They believe that the AI cannot replace the human performance. And I agree with her. I agree with her. Because the test from the human performing is totally different from the AI. They have something different inside.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
I believe that. Yeah.
that's totally different, I guess. So, okay, thank you very much for the first questioner, for Pak Hafid. And let's go to the next questioner. Is there any? Okay, we have from chat column here. I will read the question. Sorry. Okay, the question, a question from Prof. Jazuli, from Professor Jazuli. He would like to address his question to Prof. Hanafi. Prof. Hanafi, still here, right?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Hanafi. Where is it? From Professor Dr. Jazuli, a question for Prof. Hanafi. Of course, the first question, of course, every community has different characteristics, interests, and goals. How does dance empower these different communities? What kind of strategies are most important to implement? And then the second question, who are the parties involved in funding dance empowerment activities for a community? That's the question addressed to Prof. Hanafi. And then also addressed to Tan. Please explain the criteria of for dancers. For example, in Indonesia, in traditional Indonesia dancing, we have some criteria which are viraga, wirama, wirasa in Indonesia dancing, and good dance teachers for Thai dance. So what about the criteria from the Thai traditional dance? Thank you.
Okay. May I let Professor Hanafi answer the question first, please?
Okay. Okay, please do.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mas. Okay. Mas Rahman, yeah.
Yeah.
The question by Pak Projasuli is about. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first question: every community
Yeah.
for sure has different characteristics, interests, and goals. And then the question: how does dance empower these different communities? What kind of strategies are most important to implement? I will send it to the chat column, I guess, for. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. While you are sending, it's through chat. Maybe I capture the question too. I mean, two questions on what the what you call it? Yeah, the characteristic different by the different communities. Yes, it is correct because of every community or some maybe call it as ethnic has own characteristic where it play an important role for the what you call it here if we relate to the identity. So it continuously be a strong point to identify this community through their what we call it characteristics dance, which is normally when we talk about each community, they have one characteristic here in this context. When we talk about the genre, for example, when we talk about Bajau, as mentioned by me and Dr. Joel, is egal. When we talk about Bangalai, as what mentioned by Dr. Joel just now, is not Bajau, but among the Suluk, of the Philippines, or Suluk in Sabah. We call it as what we call it. Yes, Suluk as well, but of course it identified as Pangalai. So with this, what we call it, strong characteristic by their what we call it, created by the ancestors, it not to say need to defend it, but it naturally, born within the community. But of course, it's created and innovated through time by the what we call it community through their ancestral, and then of course when it go beyond of their territory, like for example when it cross border, when it cross their own territory, so somehow or other the what we call it, their tradition became probably in this context more popular among their diasporic community. But as far we go with it, the form, of this community dance remain sustained as it is. But of course, when we come through these styles. So meaning that the variation, of how it perform. So of course, it has what we call it changes through time because of many factors, the generation, regeneration, and also because of the environment. But the form, it remains. So meaning that when we talk about the strong characteristic of the dance, for example, here of the community, it should not be what we call it here change. Yeah. So this is what I think when we follow the guidelines by UNESCO, the dance remain as it belong to the community as long as the form is remain, the form is sustained. But in terms of the authenticity, of course, it's not what we call it here. embed, within the UNESCO. Because why, when we talk about the authenticity, so if the style, revised, changed, added, through what we call it here, choreography and so on. So the form still remain or sustain. And if we want to talk about the strategy, of how this kind of characteristics sustain or maintain. So of course, it reflects to what I call it, the stakeholders, of the dance. So of course, the most important stakeholders of the dance is the community itself, and then number two, of course, the other stakeholders that are responsible. So we as academic also need to work within this frame. So that's why when we talk about the helix, of research, for example, here, even though people in the industry, so when it comes to commercialization of this dance, so of course it has many questions, as Dr. Akamat mentioned about the aesthetic, So of course, in this context, when we are dealing with the tradition, so of course, all these what we call it, stakeholders need to play an important role. How the form, need to be sustained, and how it could be digested with the concept of innovation and so on. So it reflects to the concept of the style. So these two things, meaning that if we follow the UNESCO guide, is clear about that. So of course, not all people agree about the changing of the style. The tradition is sustained or remain, but what else we can do in the changing world? To we asking the people, you must perform 100%, of what been performed before. So even the community themselves, they what we call it, through time, because of this dance, align with the concept of the what we call it, oral tradition transmitting process, adding and sustaining of some of the elements could be there. So the improvisation, meaning that changing in the context of style, it happened among the community themselves. So meaning that to me, when we talk about the strategy, so we always refer back to what the available documentation of the past, and then what we call it here, practiced by the community themselves at the current. So of course, when we look at that, of course, there's also some degree of changes happen among the community. So this is what we call it here, among the strategy that we can do in the context of maintaining or sustaining the form of the tradition, but the style will be what we call it here, go along or align with the changes through time. So I think that's my answer for Pak. Yeah.
Yes, Pak Jazuli.
Pak Jazuli.
Jazuli. Yeah, Pak Jazuli is a professor from Dance Department, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Prof. Hanafi. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Hanafi, for the response. And then we go to Tarn.
Okay. Kem, I'm not sure that I quite understand question, because you asking for the criteria for dancer, and you give example that in Indonesia you have the criteria like viraga. What does it mean, viraga?
It means like, what is it? a body. Wirama is a rhythm. The body itself, and then the rhythm, and virasa is the soul. Some dancer they need to have a good body, good rhythm, and also the soul.
Okay. Okay. I got it. It's very, very deep. But in Thailand, when you want to be the dancer, I mean, not dance teacher, and you said good dance teacher for Thai dance, it's very difficult question for me because I'm not sure at the moment I'm a good dance teacher or not. But I will try. I will try to answer this question because it's very interesting. First of all, I would like to say that if you're asking for the criteria for being a dance teacher in Thailand, yes, of course, we have the criteria. Like if you want to be a teacher, dance teacher, you have to get your degree in education, especially when you're teaching in like primary school, secondary school, you have to get the degree in education. This is the one thing. But if you're teaching in the higher education like me, you didn't need to get the bachelor degree education. You can, but you have to get the degree about master degree, PhD degree in dance, or the direct degree, which is related to the major that you will teach. This is the one criteria. This is the policy in our country. But when you become teacher, at the moment, like for me and my teacher that I very respect very, very much in Thai dance, we know that who is the good teacher. Actually, everyone is a good teacher, but we don't have the specific criteria like this. But in Thai, we have our formal national artist. She passed away. She said that for Thai traditional dance, if you want to practice or learning Thai traditional dance, and if you practice it and your teacher didn't come to see and touch and hit you or correct your dance position, even you learn more than 10 years, 20 years, you will not be a good dancer. You cannot successful in dance. This quote, in my opinion, it reflects not only the student, it reflects the characteristics of a good teacher in Thai classical dance. It means, in my opinion, the good Thai classical dance teacher, they need to taking care of the students and correct them, not only the dance posture, but you need to taking care of them in sense of moral, ethical. Teach them how to be a human with the arts, with dancing. And of course, the teacher need to have a strong knowledge to correct something that student make it wrong or mistake. I think this is a good, this is very compulsory characteristic of teacher, especially in Thai dance. And I have been trained from the teacher like this. And you know, after I've been trained by them, the thing that they train me, I remember it. I never forget. I can remember all the things that they taught me. Yeah,
you look so
this
emotional,
is what I can say.
You look so emotional.
Pardon?
Yeah, you look so emotional when you're explaining your.
Oh yeah, because it's very difficult question in my opinion. Yeah, I never think it before, but the quotation of the former teachers remind me again. that if you dancing 10 years, 20 years, but if the teacher didn't go to see you and say that what is right, what is wrong for you, you never do the good dance. You cannot be a good dancer. No, you cannot. It reflects back that, real, it's true. So it means the teacher, they need to devote themselves and sacrifice themselves to teach the student, in my opinion. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tan. Yes, I think it will be what is it? A very deep connection, emotional connection between the teachers and the students, right? Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, excuse me, Mas Rahman.
Yes, Prof. Hanafi, please do.
Yeah. When I read the question, there's one more question I did not answer for Prof. Jazuli. Who are the parties involved in funding dance empowerment activities for our community? So may I answer this quick one? It depends on the what we call it. How important of that dance to the community, and then of course one, it should be voices from the community to what we call it, whether in the process of preservation, safeguarding, or whatever it is. So number two, of course, the calls, for the many agencies, especially those who are interested in what we call it here, community work. So this is what we call it here, all reflect with the community work. So the community work, come from individual or companies or big companies. So in the many what we call it here, types of fund. So number three, I think this from the government. So through academics, for example. So that's why in the context of Malaysia, I believe that in the context of Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand, the importance of the community engagement, community participation work in the academic. So that's why the current what I call it here, call for grants. In Malaysia, for example, the community engagement is very important. So this is another source of what we call it fund that can fund the activities for the dance, for the social change, and also the community empowerment. So I think there are three, and then of course in the context of industry, so it depends on some of the industry if they feel that this what we call it dance, for example, has connection with the community, and the community can contribute in the context of the what we call it specific industry, especially in the context of tourism. So probably another fund can be what we call it from these stakeholders. So meaning that when we talk about the what are parties? So it depends on the interest of different parties. So I'm not saying that we are academic also taking the opportunity, but of course it is a reality nowadays. When we talk about the academic work, so community engagement is very important. So since the people who are involved in dance, of course they work on dance. So for example, in Indonesia, the what you call it here, the activity of pengabdian masyarakat. So this is one of the requirement or criteria for the academic in the university. So that's why this kind of fund raising for the activities can be done. So it's a kind of not to say that dance for the social change, but the dance that are connected with the what we call it here, interests individual interest group or interest parties in realization of their interests of dance. So this is what I can say, in the context of what we call it funding. Since I'm answering, I hope I'm answering Prof. Jazuli second question. Yeah. So, Mas Rahman, allow me, because I noticed that there are another question in the chat by Dini, Dini Devi. The question, how can tradition be preserved amid social changes due to shift and developments or innovation in the art performance? So, I think partly I already answered this when I answered first part of the question by Prof. Jazuli. So I think the question is back to the community. So one, how the tradition can be preserved. So I think with the current changes, so not all or many communities want to sustain or to remain their tradition when involving with the dance. So I think number one, preservation could be done through documentation. So I think through what we call it documentation, all previous performances of the community that related to this dance can be a kind of an important tool for preservation. And if we are lucky, if the community continue perform the tradition, of course, it can be used as contemporary preservation of dance tradition. If the community no longer perform due to the changes and so on, so I think there's nothing we can do except the safeguarding program or safeguarding project can be done through reviving process. But of course, we are with what we call it here, little energy. So little or small team, we cannot do all. But this is what can be recommendation, can be recommended for the preservation. But through time, as I mentioned earlier, so the tradition, as I mentioned, it falls under the concept of what we call it here, changes, so of course the degree of the changes depend on how the community accepts it, and then we as the follower of the tradition, of course we could not do much as long as the tradition still being performed as it is. So as the cultural practitioner, of course, we try our best to maintain or sustain, but my answer or my take on this, so it depends on the community themselves. Yeah. So I think the last question, Mas Rahman, that reflect to me
from Vidya.
Yes. How can we as students be wise in preserving culture amidst modernization and the digital era? So yes, as I think this also been discussed by Dr. Joel and Dr. Pakamas. But as I mentioned here, so always what we call it, refer back, to the background. I think background study is very important here as a student. So not only you as student, Vidya. So we as a lecturer, as a professor, we also always back to the background. So we, what we call it here, like what Dr. Joel, editor in the archaeology thing. So we always refer back to the background as far back as possible. So I think this is the best because why? there are certainly some documentation in many forms, in the written form or in the oral form that been recorded, or in the performance form that been recorded or been photographed as well. So this is what we call it, always refer to the source or sources that can be referred to. So even though we are very much ahead, far with the technology in this digital era, so without the past, we cannot see or move on with the present. So that's my take on this. So I know that it is difficult, but there's no shortcut in getting what we call it right. What we call it source or data that should be closest to what we call as old and tradition. So that's my answer on this, yeah, Mbak Vidya. Thank you, Mas Rahman.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Hanafi. Yeah, we are closing to the end of this session. We are really sorry. We are really sorry because so there is lots of questions actually, but we are what is it? We are going to close this session immediately, and to conclude. Yeah. So, thank you very much for our invited speakers, for Professor Dr. Hanafi bin Hussein, and also Professor Dr. Agus Cahyono M. Hum, Assistant Professor Dr. Pakamas Jarupat, my friend Tan, and the fourth speaker, Dr. Joel. As we close, I leave you with this urgent question, I guess. How can we continue to innovate in dance education while sustaining cultural identity, empowering communities, and responding to the global challenges of our time? With that reflection, I would like to sincerely thank you for our invited speakers and all of you for your active participation, presenters and participants, and thoughtful engagement. May the dialogue and this discussion we begin today continue beyond the seminar, not only this conference, in our classrooms maybe, and for sure in our research and our communities as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our session. Thank you very much, and I wish you continued success in your work and artistic journeys. And thank you once again. Thank you very much for all invited speakers. And see you at the International Conference on Dance and Education 2026. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. Hanafi.
Thank you again. Terima kasih kembali.
Thank you, Prof. Agus Cahyono. Thank you, Pak Kamas.
Terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih, Pak Agus. Thank you, Dr. Joel, and see you next event. We are looking forward to seeing you all again. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Abdul Rahman as the moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of plenary session on today's conference. But after this, there will also be a parallel session in the Zoom breakout rooms. We would like to thank you very much for the contributions and the participation to our main speakers and all the participants at the plenary session of International Conference on Dance and Education 2025.
Okay, thank you so much for our invited speakers, all the presenters, and all the participants. Finally, we will go to the parallel sessions, and we have divided 3 breakout rooms, and every presenters can join to the each room. In room 1 will be guided by Mrs. Sastri Indah Febrianti MA, and in the second room there are Mr. Hafid Suhdan Bahtiar MA, and then the third room is Mrs. Galuh Fatma Hidianti MPD. So for all of the participants, please can join into the breakout room, and the parallel session will be start at 1 p.m. So please keep stay on the Zoom. See you.
Thank you, Tan. See you.
Thank you, everyone.
Halo.